Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Happy Chirp. I'm sorry, I'm putting it out there pehle se if I look tired or exhausted or if this podcast won't be very high energy because इस वक्त मुझे इस तरह फील हो रहा है जैसे मेरी आंखें भी नहीं खुल रही and I feel like my brain has not woken up yet. Last Thursday, it's Tuesday today, by the way. Thursday ko I traveled to Karachi and I just came back last night. And I still feel like I'm sort of recovering from the travel. I came to work this morning and I was just like, oh my God, there is just way more to do than I imagined, including this solo podcast that I had to do today because our podcasts are released on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it is Tuesday and we didn't have a solo podcast for today. So I was like, how will I sit and have this conversation with you guys if my brain is sort of like shut? So even though I had a lot of ideas on what I wanted to talk about on today's podcast, I decided to make this less formal and just sort of wing it today because my brain is not working with me. But just to sort of start somewhere, जब मैंने अपनी last podcast solo podcast की थी, so I got a DM जिसमें on my Instagram जिसमें मुझे किसी ने कहा कि you never told us your side of that I never mentioned in my labor story of how that experience was from Muzamil, and this was from one of my क्या कहते हैं male followers, and he said कि I wanted to know his side of the story as well, and I was like, okay, that's an interesting question, and maybe a lot of people were wondering how it was for him. So I thought, okay, in my next podcast maybe I can share a bit about that. So the good thing about my hospital was जहाँ मैं दिखा रही थी और जहाँ मेरी डिलीवरी हुई थी, that was that they allowed husbands in the labor room. Actually, they preferred the husbands in the labor room over anybody else, over mothers or mother-in-laws, because I feel कि उनको इस तरह लगता है, somebody of the staff told me there कि उनको इस तरह लगता है कि husbands are more supportive and like mother-in-laws or mothers tend to like freak out a bit. I'm not sure though because they've sort of been through the process, and I feel like husbands के लिए it could be borderline traumatic to watch something like this. But personally मेरे लिए ये था that I would have liked to have my husband there because at the end of the day the baby is theirs as well, and they should see what the mother goes through delivering their baby, and I feel like, and today when I asked Muzamil about it, what do you think or feel about the fact that you were there during labor? So he said it added a lot of perspective, and he also feels that it really changes the way that he sees himself as a father, his relationship with his son, and obviously his relationship with me. Because when you sort of see your wife do this, I think the appreciation that you have for this is different. It's on another level. And also, like, for me, just knowing he's there, that comfort is there. Because I feel like when it's your partner, you can share your load or whatever you were feeling much, much better as compared to your mother. Like, I feel like even if my mom understood the situation better, I would just constantly be making sure that she's not getting too upset or she's not freaking out too much. But with your partner, you can generally sort of share the load that, I'm going through this and you go through this with me. So I think मेरी अम्मी बीच में जब थोड़ी देर के लिए आई थी मुझसे मिलने, they allowed her to come in and see me. तब मुझे बस रोना आना शुरू हो गया था because I know that she was sensitive and she was emotional. So I just felt more emotional when I saw her. But with my husband, I felt stronger, with him. So I guess it was good for me to have him there. In the last few minutes when you were just sort of delivering the baby, that moment and when it finally happens, it's something else. And हमारा जो इस तरह हुआ था कि when that was happening for us, and we were just trying to, it was the final moment. And when it finally happened, I heard the baby cry. And the first thing I did was look to my right, because Muzamil was on my right. And I looked at him, and he was just white, like he was just standing there, and his face was pale. He was like this, like both his hands covering his mouth, and he was just staring Sida aage and not moving. It was like he was numb. And he had gone completely white. Like, I had never, ever seen him like this. And he also took a step back. Like, he was so surprised. Like, he took a step back. Like, he had just witnessed, Lord knows what he had witnessed, because of the way that expression on his face. And I looked at him and I was like, listen, are you okay? Which is so funny because I feel like you should have been asking me this question. But after looking at him, I thought maybe I need to do it because I was actually okay. I looked at him and I was like, listen, are you okay? And he was just not coming out of it. And then I shook him out of it and I said, listen, just let it out, because there were like tears in his eyes, just like resting there. And I shook him out of it, and then those tears sort of fell out, and there was some color back on his face, and it was like as if he started breathing again. So I feel like that moment when he witnessed that, it was very, very magical for him. It was very unreal for him. And I don't think that is something that he can ever forget, or we can ever forget. And then after this was done, I was like, okay, now I need to see where my baby is. And then I saw, like, mujhe 2 टांगें nazar aayi thi, choti si, like they were carrying a baby and taking him away. And then I sort of told Muzamil to just go with him because I'll be fine. So, I think, and today he says, that moment, it was magical. Like, I have never seen or felt anything like that before. So I think if your hospital allows, and if your husbands are up for it, then let them in on it. Have them in there. I think it will really change the way that they see things and their fatherhood journey. And obviously, as husbands, it really affects them. I feel that is also one of the reasons, like, I had a lot of support from my husband after the baby. I mean, I feel regardless it would have happened, but I'm sure that moment also made the difference, because it's a simple, I feel like it's simple logic. It's simple, when you are, the more involved you are in something, or the more you are included in something, the more you feel like taking ownership of it. If you are excluded, or you feel left out, or you are not involved, then you feel less ownership of something, right? So the more you know, the more involved you are, the more involved you want to be. And this is just a simple logic. आप किसी भी काम में, किसी भी चीज़ में वो apply कर सकते हो, वो आप इसमें भी apply कर सकते हो. So yeah, and I feel like, that's why I feel like it's important for husbands to be at appointments, to meet the gynecologist, to be part of the process, because the more part of the process you will be, the more involved you will be from the start, the more ownership you will take of this whole thing as a husband and as a father. I feel this. So yeah, all of this came from that question that somebody asked me in my DM, and I thought, maybe I should put this out there, because I thought, okay, it's an interesting story to share as well. But anyway, this was the first time, because I just told you I came from a trip, from travels. This was the first time I traveled with my son. It was his first flight ever. He's 6 months old now, and quite active, mashallah se. So naturally, my husband and I, we were sort of nervous कि हम इसके साथ कैसे travel करेंगे, especially because it was not just like random travel कि हम जाके relax कर सकें, but it was a lot of other stuff as well, because it was actually Muzamil's niece's engagement. उनकी जो सबसे बड़ी वाली बहन है, उनकी बेटी की engagement थी, and because they were flying in from US for this engagement, वो लोग USA में होते हैं, but जहाँ उनकी शादी हो रही है वो कराची में होते हैं. So that's why the event was in Karachi. And we were in Islamabad, and because they were flying from there, तो सारी arrangement जो इवेंट है वो मैंने और मेरे हस्बैंड ने ही ऑर्गेनाइज़ किया हुआ था. सो ऑब्वियसली गोइंग देयर मेंट डूइंग ऑल ऑफ दैट एज वेल, looking after the baby as well, and you have a lot of family in Karachi, so doing all the family stuff as well. I just feel like there was a lot of stuff that we needed to like do, just beyond just taking a trip. So we were quite nervous. The night before our flight, Muzamil was like, Hamna, like, if you don't want to go because you will have to take care of Raphael and do a lot of family things, then like it's up to you. Because he made it clear to me at the time, okay, listen, I know that you will have this expectation from me to be with you and to help you with Raphael and take care of the baby, but I just want to put it out there that it will be very difficult for me because it's my sister's daughter's engagement and I have to manage everything, so I will not be as available. So like he was just putting that out there for me so that the expectations are very clear. So if you don't want to go, it's fine. I hope you're not feeling the pressure. But to be honest, even though it was a Susrali thing and a lot of people might feel like they don't really want to go, but unko ek pressure feel hota hai ki, how can I skip this Susrali thing? Like, what will people feel? It was just something that I genuinely really wanted to attend. Like, for me, it was like, how can I skip this? Like, it made no sense for me to not attend this thing because it was close relatives. It was a thing. My husband is managing and doing the event. Like, we're working on the event. How can I not attend this event? And personally, like, jiski engagement thi, I feel like, I have some level of relationship with her, and I just felt like I wanted to be there for her, for her big day. So I was like, nahi, hum mil mila ke kar lenge and we'll figure it out and it's okay. Like, fine, you do you and I will do me. So and then we decided to go, and it was sort of insane क्योंकि हम 2 बजे हमने जाके पैकिंग अपनी शुरू की. हमारी फ़्लाइट जो है वो सुबह की थी. हमने 2 बजे पैकिंग शुरू की एंड विद द बेबी लाइक देयर इज़ अ बिलियन थिंग्स टू पैक. तो हमने 4:30-5 बजे अपनी पैकिंग ख़त्म की है. 6:30 बजे हम उठ गए हैं, फिर हम तैयार हुए हैं. फाइनल जो चीज़ आपने सुबह रखनी होती है वो की है. दैन वी लेफ्ट फॉर द एयरपोर्ट. सो वी वर लाइक एक्सट्रीमली स्लीप डिप्राइव्ड व्हेन वी गॉट टू कराची एंड देन देयर वाज फैमिली एंड टन्स टू डू. सो बट हो गया, पहुँच गए. एंड इट वॉज राफाएल्स फर्स्ट फ्लाइट इज वेल. सो आई वॉज वेरी नर्वस कि पता नहीं क्या होगा. ही इज़ जनरली अ गुड baby, but with babies like you don't know what to expect because they're unpredictable. kabhi kabar wo badi uncharacteristic harkatein bhi kar dete hain, but it was generally overall he did cry in the middle because he was kind of sick and tired of being in the plane, but more so because usko गोद इतनी अच्छी नहीं लगती है, उसको बैठना भी नहीं अच्छा लगता. एंड प्लेन में इसके अलावा कोई ऑप्शन नहीं होती. ही लाइक्स टू बी पुट डाउन and then he likes to play with his toys. तो ज़ाहिर है I wasn't being able to do that with him. तो उसने एक पॉइंट पे ना एक हंगामा मचा दिया कि भाई मैं बोर हो गया हूँ, मैं तंग आ गया हूँ. खैर मैंने उसको ना अपनी सीट पे लिटा दिया और मैं साइड पे एज पे बैठ गई mid flight so that he can play a little, and then he felt better. But it wasn't so bad. And then the entire trip as well, it went well. Like, I did not feel the need for a lot of help or support. I was able to manage him, take care of him, and be there for family at the same time as much as I could. We went out a lot, we met people, we did things, we took him everywhere. It was okay, it worked out. सिर्फ वापसी में जिस दिन हमारी फ़्लाइट थी, मुज़म्मिल was not feeling well because every time we go to Karachi हमारे पेट ख़राब हो जाते हैं और we catch a bug or something of the sort. I don't know why. So मुज़म्मिल का पेट बहुत ख़राब हो गया. He caught some bug and it was a travel day and Raphael was teething like crazy. So that wasn't good. So he was just crying सुबह से and I was like, I don't know ये flight कैसे होगी. But we were like करना तो है. So we got ready, we left for the airport and he is just constantly whining this, that. And he was also sleeping a lot because I think he wasn't feeling well. खैर हम airport गए, पहले सोता रहा, फिर उठ गया, and then it was just चूं, lots of crying. And I was also so embarrassed because लोग आगे पीछे भी तंग हो रहे थे. But कराची में इतनी गर्मी थी that बेचारा everywhere he went, he was just hot and cranky because it was just too hot for him. तो एयरपोर्ट पे भी इट वॉज टू हॉट. खैर आई फाउंड अ स्पॉट जहाँ डायरेक्ट AC आ रहा था, and then he felt a little better. फिर जहाँ plane में गए, so the first few minutes when everybody's settling, he's just crying, and me and Muzamil were just looking at each other like, oh my god, we have that kid and we are those parents with the annoying baby. और plane में सब लोग को कितनी बस हो रही होगी हमारे बच्चे की वजह से. Anyway, we tried this with him, that with him, nothing was working. Eventually, like, he gave in and he went to sleep on me, and then he slept through most of the flight. So that was good. And then we came back and he was so happy. It's like he wasn't teething at all. Like वो अपने environment में आके इतना खुश था, घर आके इतना खुश था. But overall the trip went well. I think I think when you sort of आप हिम्मत कर लेते हो तो हो ही जाता है. And to be honest, like, it wasn't bad at all, and we had a really really good time. I feel like this was मुझे था कि बहुत हेक्टिक होगा, and when I come back I will feel as if कि पता नहीं अब कि मतलब मुझे break नहीं मिली. But it wasn't like that. It was exactly the break that I needed. I just felt like I came from a vacation. I didn't have anything to worry about. It was just मिलना मिलाना और बस रिलैक्स करना एंड इवेंट अटेंड करना एंड फैमिली के साथ होना, लोगों से मिलना. सो इट वाज मच बेटर देन आई हैड सॉर्ट ऑफ एक्सपेक्टेड इट टू बी. तो हाँ, मज़ा आया. बट ऑल ऑफ दिस हैड मी थिंकिंग a lot about how, like, as women we have to be in so many roles and we have a lot of expectations to fulfill. जो relationships की सारी expectation होती है वो सारी आपके कंधों पे होती है, especially in our society. And जो आपने roles maintain करने होते हैं, all day I feel like I'm switching between being a mom, being a daughter-in-law, being a sister-in-law, being a daughter, being a mumani, all of that. And it's just a lot. And I feel like as women, you have to be emotionally available for so many people as well. And that, or I think, जो मैंने last time अपनी podcast में identity crisis की बात की थी, that really takes away from your self-identity because you're constantly switching between roles and you're constantly fulfilling expectations, which might not even be very outrageous expectations. Like, they can be very basic, normal expectations. But जो मिल मिला के, they're just a lot, and it sort of leaves no time for you as an individual, like who you are beyond the roles that you're in. That's why, and I know that those roles are there and like they need to be done, and that's why I have sort of in recent times decided, because I do enjoy those roles. It's not like I don't want to do those roles. I want to, and that's why sorry, my train of thought is just like anyway, मैं कहना चाह रही हूँ कि it's not like I don't want to do those things or be in those roles. I genuinely enjoy those roles, but I feel like they lead to a burnout, or you stop enjoying those roles when you are unable to take out time for yourself. And I understand that it's difficult to take out that time for yourself, but it has to be made a priority. This thing I'll be doing for myself today, or just exercises that help you be a bit more self-aware. So today when I woke up, I decided, from today onwards, I will make sure that I do things just for myself, consciously, कि ये जो चीज़ कर रही हूँ ना, ये मैं अपने लिए कर रही हूँ, just as हमना, not as a mom or as a this or a that, just as me, for me, because I feel like that helps you stay happier and saner, because I've done that recently, even though I've been doing a lot of role switching as well, but that has made me happier even in those other roles and just as a person. And to be honest, मुझे recent times में लग रहा था कि पता नहीं कैसे होगा, but it's not that hard. Like, if you really put your foot down and you prioritize it, then you can do it. And then when you are in those roles, you genuinely be in those roles rather than doing them for the sake of doing them. Because personally na, I feel like जो आपके रोल्स होते हैं या जो आपसे एक्सपेक्टेशंस होती हैं एज अ वुमन या एज अ वुमन इज़ वन थिंग, बट जो आपसे एक्सपेक्टेशंस होती हैं इन सर्टन रोल्स के, क्योंकि आपने कुछ चीज़ें करनी हैं, they should be done genuinely. If they are being done for the sake of being done कि क्योंकि आपने करनी है और ये आपका काम बनता है, आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, then they will never be enough. But even if you're not doing as much but doing the little bit genuinely, it will be enough for the people. Because किसी भी चीज़ में genuinity जो है वो नज़र आती है कि दिल से किया गया है, कि खुशी से किया गया है, वो नज़र आती है. अगर आप सड़े हुए हो और आप चीज़ें कर रहे हो तो ना अगले बंदे को उसका कोई फ़ायदा, ना आपको कोई फ़ायदा. एंड इट्स जस्ट अ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी. आई फील लाइक दीज थिंग्स दैट यू डू इन दीज रोल्स, दे शुड बी डन with heart, with an open mind, with an open heart, and as genuinely as possible. So you may not do everything that is expected of you. I think that's okay. But whatever you do so genuinely. Do so with a full heart. So there are a lot of things I feel like I don't do. But when I do the things that I do, I make sure that I'm doing them because I want to do them, because I like to do them, and with a full and open heart. So if you are also sort of the person who has a lot of shoes to fill, who has a lot of expectations, you don't need to do all of them. That's my opinion. I mean, I'm no one to sort of advise you, but just make sure that everything that you do, you're doing because you want to do it, because you like to do. And if you don't like or want to do some things, just don't do them. Start saying no, and start accepting that you can't be everywhere and you can't do everything, but you'd rather do anything you do happily. And I think you'll generally just be a happier person because whatever you're doing with full intention. वैसे भी मतलब if I'm on the other end and I expect someone to do something और मुझे ज़रा सा भी ये फील हो कि वो दिल से नहीं कर रहे या वो इसलिए करें क्योंकि उनकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है, तो मुझे वो उससे नहीं चाहिए होगा. Because I don't need an एहसान from someone. मुझे होगा कि वो दिल से करे तो करे. इसलिए ना आपको कभी किसी पे प्रेशर डालना चाहिए किसी चीज़ करने का, ना आपको करनी चाहिए अगर आपको प्रेशर फील हो, बिकॉज उसका क्या फ़ायदा. अगर रिलेशनशिप्स में जेन्युइनिटी नहीं है और आप दिल से ही नहीं कर रहे तो उसका क्या फ़ायदा. एंड दैट्स हैज़ सॉर्ट ऑफ ऑलवेज बिन अ रूल फॉर मी दैट आई sort of never force relationships or do things forced out. Like I don't make phone calls to people that have to be made for the sake of being made कि अच्छा वो करनी चाहिए क्योंकि बड़े अरसे से जो है बात नहीं की. भाई अगर बात नहीं है करने को तो मैं नहीं करूँगी. A lot of people might disagree with me. I'm not saying that everyone should have this opinion, but this is who I am. I make phone calls when there is something to say, and I will make that phone call and I will be invested in that phone call and I will have a talk then, and or maybe I will call less but then I will speak for 45 minutes and really have a good conversation. But I won't call like every 2 weeks or twice a week or like every other day just for that tick mark. I sort of don't believe in those tick marks and those formalities. It just makes me feel very fake and artificial. I just don't do that. I want all conversations to be genuine. I want relationships to be genuine. I want anything that's all actions to have real intentions and to be really genuine, So this is maybe some food for thought, and maybe a lot of you feel like this already. Or maybe some of you feel कि भाई ऐसे नहीं होता if you want to survive in this society. But I feel like that is something that I'm willing to change. And even if it sort of some people can't understand this, I think they will. And I want to change that process where we can be more genuine and be more real and not sort of get hurt or offended over small expectations that are just burdening someone else or putting pressure on somebody else. They should be, people should feel more free, especially women should feel more free and more supported this way. And I just feel that if we start doing things this way, we will actually see more people doing more, because they will have the freedom to do the things they really want to do for other people genuinely. So I hope you got what I'm saying, because I felt like मैंने बस एक जो है ना mental sorry एक verbal क्या उसे कहते हैं vomit कर दी है इस वक्त. But like I said in the start, my mind is sort of all over the place, but I hope you sort of got what I was trying to say. So I think I'm done for today. Thank you so much for switching into this podcast. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please leave your comments and thoughts below. I want us to have a more engaging relationship here, where you can respond and say what you feel in the comments, because that helps me further talk about more things and more ideas in the next solo podcast, because that helps me gauge what you are interested in, or what aspects of the conversation that I had with you interested you more. So thank you so much for switching in, and I'll see you again, inshallah, alone on next Tuesday, and with a guest on Thursday. I'm having somebody really, really special, so please tune in on Thursday as well. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.